This is by far the scammiest industry ever to come down the pike in 1,000 years. And that's what makes part of being a Bitcoin maximalism difficult, is that you're dealing literally in a show. You've got something that's valuable and you're in a cyclone of, and people are just yelling at you like, you, that's, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? It's like, we're going to protect this. We're going to keep it pure. We're going to keep it Bitcoin. And, so now it's a new cycle. We got a new scam coming. We're ready for it. Who cares? F you. Hit me with your best shot. We're still going to a lot higher in hyper Bitcoinization.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. In today's video, we have Bitcoin maximalist Max Keiser giving us an update about extreme periods of volatility in Bitcoin. We'll hear about how the Fed money printing is affecting inflation and why the recent crash in the crypto market happened. Max believes that not only were people aware that certain stablecoins were unhedged, but why you want to stay away from altcoins altogether. With cryptocurrency going through a difficult time, Bitcoin has also lost 30% of its value just this year. Investors and crypto analysts say that whenever there's a sell-off, to be aware of any projections that indicate a lower price point of the prevailing downtrend. Keiser also discusses Wall Street's liquidity and their projections for the next year. Be sure to stay till the end of the video as Max Keiser gives his prediction on the market collapse and how this will affect fiat currency.
I'm talking about the VCs in Bitcoin perpetuating various scams to try to grab people's Bitcoin. Well, somebody asked me how the Bitcoin 22 conference in Miami compared with other previous conferences, and I said the difference is that the suits are nicer, right? So these cycles of scammers have been with us since the beginning. Bitcoin has attracted scammers right from day one. And we went through a lot of different scams over the years. Remember the whole Dan Larimer period? He came up with 5 or 6 scams, big scam. And I can name others, the big cyclical and cyclical. And you see the market cap names change over the years. Bitcoin always stays at the top. And now we've got like these Wall Street types and VCs and hedge fund guys with nicer suits. They've gone down the Dan Larimer route. They've gone down the coin route, and they get washed out. So this is a big washout. Took out the last 2 or 3 years of scammers, big scammers. We start a new cycle. Who was that guy? He was popular for a while. He wears a bow tie all the time.
Jeffrey Tucker.
Yeah, Jeffrey Tucker. Jeffrey Tucker was at, I believe he was at the Prague conference, and he presented Bitcoin as gold. So he was making the case that Bitcoin was a store of value and digital gold. The situation in Bitcoin is the volatility. So when you have a collapse, and we've had 80% collapse over the years, everyone's assumptions just gets blown out the window. Doesn't matter what you think it is. When you have an 80% collapse, you're just kind of in the middle of a storm, and now you're in the water and you're swimming and you don't know what's going on.
Keiser goes on to say that anytime a collapse happens, investors' timelines get distorted. During periods of extreme volatility, the price of cryptocurrency can skyrocket and crash within just a few months. The recent international conflicts have caused global markets to remain volatile, and uncertainty has followed close behind. Let's listen as Max Keiser gives his prediction on exactly why one particular cryptocurrency has recently bottomed out.
And I think a lot of times during those 80% collapses, people's timelines get distorted. So if you have, like we saw the price go from $30 back to $1, and all the people who were talking about all the great things for Bitcoin coming in different places in the economy, suddenly you're thinking, well, maybe it's going to take longer than we thought. We thought this was going to happen in another few years. Maybe it's going to take 20 years. Okay, then Bitcoin, bam, there it is. It's up to 1,000. You're like, oh, this is great. We're going to build an entire future on this. Then crashes down to 200. And you're like, oh, well, maybe it's going to take another 10 or 15 years. Then zoom, it goes up to 20,000. And you're like, hey, we were right all along for these past 5 or 6 years. There's going to be a new future. And then crashes down to 3,800. They're like, oh, maybe this is going to take 10 or 15 years. Oh, now it's at 70,000. We were right. It's going to be a brand new future. Everything's going to be like we said it was going to be. Boom. down to 29, 28,000, 28,500. You know, every time you have one of these moves, 50, 60, 70, 80% move, you know, you're thinking, oh, well, maybe it's going to take 10 years, not 2 years. In that case, you know, well, maybe I should get a hobby. I should start raising pigs. You know, maybe I'll start some coins like Dan Larimer. Maybe I'll buy, you know, a casino. Maybe, right? So your mind wanders during these extreme periods of volatility. And I think that's a big problem. And then suddenly the price catapults and it jumps, you know. Oh, it's at 150. It's at 200,000. Oh, we were right all along. This is what's going to happen. So this is just the volatility is incredible. That major cycle of dollarization and lower interest rates starting in the Reagan period, that all came crashing down in February 24th. That's just dead. It's
February 26th it actually happened. February 24th was the beginning of the war where Russia invaded Ukraine. That was one moment, but the United States had a choice, and that choice they made on February 26th, which was to demonetize U.S. Treasuries, to turn it into a UST instead, the UST coin, a Terra UST coin. That happened February 26th of 2022. So as Stacey Herbert predicted, the U.S. dollar did not last past its 50th birthday.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It did not hit 51.
That's right.
So that happened.
That happened. And that's a major cycle. And then the coin cycle hit a major inflection point in the last month or so. It had been since 2017, and the ICO craze was the buildup of all the coin heroes of the past 4 years, I would say. The names, you know, we can get into them or not get into them, but the latest names in both shitcoinery and hedge fundery and media fundery had a big move, and now they've been kind of washed out, wiped out, decimated. Another cyclical, those two cycles hit at the same time. De-dollarization and this fourth or fifth coin cycle both hit simultaneously.
There will be another coin cycle. It'll be the CBDCs. It'll be the central banks. It will be the governments.
Your habits are very bad because you're not really doing your due diligence. What the thing about Luna with Novogratz is that, which is kind of surprising, is that apparently they did no due diligence whatsoever. The number of people who were going out and just pinpointing in great detail the extent to which this thing was a scam, an obvious Ponzi, is huge. I mean, you know, from the top analysts who do know what they're talking about, down to even some of the fellow scammers. I saw a few scammers out there saying, you know, I'm a scammer, but this takes the cake. This is the scammiest scam of all. So there was no due diligence whatsoever. And to your point, the losses on the books appear to be, we don't know yet because he's gone radio silent, but it appears as though these losses were unhedged. You know, hedge fund, it says in the name, hedge, right? You're supposed to be hedged. They had an unhedged position in this, and it just got decimated, which is also another surprising part of this.
Wall Street and Silicon Valley are now doing what the early Bitcoin OGs were doing in 2017. With 380% collapses so far in Bitcoin, the next few months will determine how it will bounce back. In the meantime, some experts predict an $8,000 bottom price for Bitcoin soon, seeing a recent 70% downturn since its $30,000 price point. If their forecast comes true, it would inflict further pain on Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency market, which has seen around $500 billion wiped off its value in the past month. Bitcoin is down around 24% in the last 30 days alone. Most agree that Bitcoin and Ethereum will survive this current cycle, but this is eerily similar to the dot-com bubble of the early 2000s. While most major cryptos are spending much of the day in the red, ongoing investor fears about inflation and a possible recession grows as central banks tighten monetary policy. But what do you think about Max Keiser's prediction for Bitcoin? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.